Hey guys, so today I thought to myself, let's do something a little bit different. We're going to be creating an image using blend modes. So we talked about how to use adjustment layers in the previous videos with the man and the bridge, and now we're going to see how blend modes can fit into that actual kind of design that we're looking for. Certain elements that are used with adjustment layers can be done with blend modes, and I'm going to explain to you what they do and how to work with them, and how to differentiate between what we can do with adjustment layers and blend modes. So let's get going here. I got Photoshop open here. I'm gonna grab my two pictures. This is actually a tutorial that I took from YouTube as well, and you can check it over. I'm gonna have the description down below. So I got the man over here, and I need the woods. Perfect. So let's open both of them up. My first adjustment is that I want to start working on this image first. I'm gonna be changing a little bit of the cape, for an example. I want to remove other things like this little piece right here I'm going to remove, and that little piece on the right I'm going to remove. So the way to do this is you can take a quick selection brush, just edit this out. Don't take the hand with you, that's simple. Make sure the layer is unlocked first, and I'm just going to delete. Control D to deselect, and I have my picture. Now, I want to be able to fill this area out, but this picture also has a lot of information here we could use. So instead of using, for an example, the clone stamp tool or the patch select tool, all I can do here is just duplicate this, or right click on the layer, duplicate this layer, and I'm just going to move the bottom one to the left using my V key on my keyboard and just moving it to the side and trying to get something like so. Now I still have a little bit of a line here, so that's no problem. I'm going to go to my top layer, press E on my keyboard, which is the erase tool, and erase this little part right here. Being careful not to hit the man. Perfect. So now we actually have a better result. I'm going to be grabbing both of them and merging the layers. So right click on both of the layers, select the first one, shift click on the second one, right click and merge layers. Alright, so I have this. Next, I want to replace this entire background with the actual woods. Now, to be able to do this, I do want a little bit of the fog that you see here and a little bit of the trees, the way they're behaving. And I also want a little bit of these foliage that you see here behind the character. So that is the next step. I need to isolate the man. That's very important. So what I'm going to do here is I can grab all of this here, take my quick selection tool, and also take the man, making sure I don't skip anything over. Just take your time doing this step. Doesn't have to be super precise because we're also going to darken this entire image. We're going to make it into a night scene. So there we go, and I want this piece right here. Great. So now my only part that's selected is going to be the bottom. I want to delete the top, so select on the top, inverse, and press delete on your keyboard, and that should do it. Okay? And I'm going to grab the woods, all of it. So you use your rectangular marquee tool, grab everything, and move it to the side. There we go, place it in the correct spot, put it under, and now we're going to remove this harsh line that you see here. So the way I can do this is create a mask layer, so right here, on the man layer, paint in black, there we go, reduce the opacity of your brush, so I'm in my brush tool, right here, reduce the opacity, so that I can start removing this information. Don't worry about this part, we're gonna get to it later on. I'm just trying to remove as much information as I can from here, just so we can blend these two pictures together. Now for me not to destroy the man, I want to make sure that I can isolate him away. So let's grab the quick selection tool again, grab him, and I want to make sure, select, inverse, and now I can paint comfortably without hitting the man on that area. So again, I'm painting on top of the mask, don't forget. Let's increase a bit the opacity, it's taking too long. There we go. Just remove the harsh line that you see in the middle, that's all. Perfect. So now it's much better, and if I look at the mask, I can see that my man is completely perfect stays in white, and everything around it's black, that the one that we want to disappear. So the way to do this, to be able to see the mask, is alt click on the mask and you'll be able to see what you have done so far. Great. So again, I'm gonna be merging these two layers together. So select them, right click, merge layers. And now we're gonna start with the adjustment layers. Before, to be able to darken the entire image, I could use adjustment layers on the bottom right. I could use an exposure to be able to drop it down, like so. And that actually works pretty well. There we go. I'm gonna take my brush, paint in black with a very low opacity, because I don't want the man to be that dark. I want it to be a little bit more lightened. There we go. That's a bit better. Let me zoom in here. I don't want this kind of halo happening around him, so I'm going to remove all of that. There we go, much better. Now we're going to light up the lantern, the ground, and his body at the same time. So we're not going to be using adjustment layers for this. Typically we would use, for example, a hue saturation with an exposure level on all of those, and we would clip each layer to each other. We're not going to do this. Even simpler, let's grab a new layer on the bottom right here. Take my brush. I'm going to paint in a kind of orangey, yellowish kind of hue. There we go. So make sure you color pick from right here. Zoom in, and I'm going to paint on top of this. There we go. Perfect. I'm going to change the blend mode. So now the blend modes are found right here on top of the layers. You have normal, dissolve, darken, multiply, lighten, overlay, all of those. So they are in 6 categories, and we're going to kind of explain each one. The first category is normal, dissolve. They don't do much. Normal stays exactly the way it is. Dissolves kind of creates this flickering effect, which definitely we don't want to happen. The next one is darken, multiply, color, burn, linear burn, and darker colors. All of these are meant to darken the image. So this layer, according with these layers, will darken something, okay? And they work on the principle of, when you open your colors, you can see here you have your hue, saturation, and you have your brightness. The brightness is at 100%. So this is what's affecting either the darken or the ones on the bottom, the next category, which is the lighten part, okay? The lighten goes from 50% brightness to 100% brightness. The darken goes from the opposite, so 50 to 0. And the overlay, soft light, all of these work on 50% exactly, so you have to keep that in mind. The best way to learn how these work is you have to try them out. Alright? So in this instance, I'm going to go something called color dodge. What color dodge does is basically that my yellow that I painted, this one, this little piece, is 100% bright, while the lantern, basically the walls, the walls right here, these little lines that you see going down, are darker than the yellow I have, meaning that this layer is going to go behind those colors, giving you that effect. Okay? If we change it to something else, like a lighten, for an example, it will still do the same effect, but not to the best of their abilities. This is normal. It's pretty much the same. Here I want to be able to see those lights. I can keep it if I want to as lighten. It's perfectly fine. It would work. But I would like to see a bit more of those dark spots. But for now, let's just keep it lighten. Next, I'm going to grab another one. Sorry, that's a group. I'm going to grab another layer and paint in the exact same color that I used before. And I'm going to paint on the pants, on the floor, just like that. A little bit more on the arm, a little bit on the face. All I'm doing is just painting the color. And I'm going to change the blend mode of this specific one to soft light, giving you this effect. So here we can also go color overlay, color dodge, sorry. There we go, now we have the color we want. And here we can actually drop it down a little bit more in opacity. But I don't want to do that. What I'm going to do instead is to be able to fix those little mistakes, is take that layer, add a mask to it, and I can paint in black to remove some information that I want. Sorry, this is hard light, I want soft light. Much better. And this one can go to lighten. There we go. Exposure, we can drop it down even lower. So without these effects, you will have normal picture, darken, the lantern, and the overlay light. Alright, definitely much better here. So what I can also do is use my highlight brush, which I really like. It's over here on the left side. So you have dodge tool, which allows you to create highlights, burn tool, which allows you to create shadows, and the sponge tool, forget about it, it's not really that useful. So dodge tool. Let's lower down the opacity. Sorry, not the opacity, I need the exposure. So dodge tool. Exposure, I'm going to drop it down. And I'm just going to give it a little bit more lighter areas. Let me increase it just a tiny bit more. There we go, so. Put on the face. Much better, alright. We do need a bit more highlights, so. Just a little bit more. I want to put on the hands. More on the pants, just a little bit there. A little bit on the face. That works. Sorry, before I used the dodge tool, it was actually on the wrong layer. I have to use the actual layer that I used first, which is the man layer. So keep that in mind. Now I can use the shadow tool, which is the burn tool right here. Lower it down, reduce the exposure. I don't want it to be that strong. And I'm going to add a little bit more shadows in certain areas, just to highlight this area right here, the closest to the lantern. A little bit more on the floor, just to be able to give him that little shadow. Much better. Alright, so this was just a very quick tutorial on how to use these certain blend modes and how to use adjustment layers in comparison with that. So hopefully that helps, and I really hope you liked this video. Please like and rate and comment, really appreciate it, and let me know if you have any questions. I'll definitely fix it up for you. Thank you guys, see you in the next one, bye.